this is Lorena, and I'm back with another Duelist video. In this video, I will continue where I left off in the last video with the fact that some of my flawed thinking does somehow help to some extent. You know, it was definitely strange when I recorded a Duelist video. I recorded multiple Duelist videos last night. Even after I corrected myself saying that I wasn't going to be recording, but I ended up recording. But that's actually not the weirdest thing ever. The weirdest thing ever is how I was coping with my anhedonia. Yes, this is the most flawed logic I've ever had. So, I love astrology. And I used astrology to give myself some hope that because of how the astrology works, maybe I wouldn't be crippled by anhedonia forever. My logic was so bad, I basically insulted it on the spot. But I mean, I'm still functioning, and some of my functionality did come back shortly after I came up with that kind of logic. It was certainly not expected, but it did happen, surprisingly. And then there's the flawed logic of, are there any other examples I can think of besides just that one case? Well, there is that time when I thought that I wouldn't last 2 seconds on YouTube. Like, when I started doing this when I started my YouTube channel, well, when I started using it in this case, I didn't think I would be uploading many videos. I didn't think I'd be doing this for very long. And sure, it's only been some amount of months, but I've got hundreds of videos on this channel now. I'm exposing the amount of free time I have. And if you're wondering why I have so much free time for this, well, that goes into why I'm doing this to begin with. It's because I want to change my future by using this platform to somehow figure some shit out. And now, obviously, people cannot help me, but YouTube can keep track of certain statistics. And if I study the stats over time, I may be able to gain an understanding of my strengths and weaknesses. And now the main flaw there is, well, I still have to keep doing this for a long time. So this isn't something I'll be able to learn in 2 seconds or 2 months. I'm probably going to be at this for years. But I mean, it does help that I'm gradually growing into being able to talk about more and more things. Even though I think that my recent playlist was a complete mistake, I do feel like that I've gotten some benefit out of it already. It's certainly interesting, if I'm being honest. But yeah. Yamayuki, draw a monster. You're the king of games, right? Just draw one. What kind of... I thought you were the king of games, dude. Why are you not drawing any monsters? Okay, that's probably my fault. Well, at least now he has one. The protagonist turnaround. Okay, this is the biggest comeback victory I've ever had. At least as far as I can remember. But if he ever gets rid of that one card, I'm doomed. Okay. Well, Yamayuki finishes off Mako, well, that didn't take long. Okay, well. What was I talking about before I was distracted by the duel? Something about, my strengths and weaknesses. Oh yeah. It's going to take a while for YouTube to have those stats. I mean, I haven't been doing this very long, so there's not a huge variety. Which means I can't really study much. Because I need more variety to actually properly study this shit. I'm going in this all the way. And yes, it makes me very uncomfortable that I just talked about having sub-bonds. It makes me very uncomfortable that I talked about all sorts of other things that people may cringe at. But at the end of the day, it matters what I want to make. It matters what I want to make. It's definitely easy to tell when someone doesn't like the videos they're making. And maybe some days it feels like I'm not having as much fun as on others. But, I mean, I'm still doing this for a reason. I definitely seem to be getting a lot out of it. And I think that it's showing quite a bit. So, I'm still doing this, and I'm also trying to branch out a bit. And it's very difficult for me to actually branch out because I'm still worried that YouTube is going to come after me. But I'm going to do my best here and not freak out in every video. And at the very least, I can say that. Okay, I think that's the last Duelist. Okay, I'm not being... Oh, God. The Paradox Brothers are going to leave me rhyming for days. I actually have... My music tastes have changed a bit. And I'm just gonna say this. The Paradox Brothers are probably not why I keep rhyming. However, they definitely are a reminder of that. And I'm like, how the hell do I keep rhyming? Probably because of the music I've been listening to. Okay. Dude, you just look creepy. I really wish Aigami wasn't a movie exclusive character. Because he could be so interesting to bring back. I'm not even sure if I'm going to win this. Anyway, it's definitely going to be a long time before I see any lasting change. And I think there's a lot for me to learn as far as YouTube goes. I mean, to begin with, my videos are basically, I record them, then I upload them. I don't really edit them, ever. And some part of that is because I don't want to cut myself off when it comes to dialogue. Now, I could easily just edit my videos to include bits and pieces of the best content. I'm actually thinking of doing that in the future, especially with some of my longer videos. I'm thinking of one day taking out some of the dialogue so I can bring in some of the best content from them. But I've got so many videos. It's like I've been on here for way longer than I have been. And sometimes I do comment on YouTube videos. Yes, I comment on Yu-Gi-Oh videos too, but I meant videos in general. Not just Yu-Gi-Oh ones. Though the fact that I do comment on Yu-Gi-Oh videos, well, that definitely does increase the chances of people that like Yu-Gi-Oh actually seeing that I have uploaded videos. I mean, especially if they're watching Duelist videos, but I haven't commented on many Duelist videos. I'm not even sure if I've ever commented on Duelist videos. I just know that I've had plans to do that. Although if I actually do, then that definitely means that if someone watches someone else's content, they might end up getting recommendations to view mine as well. Sort of as a recommendation because of the similarities in content. just the fact that I make Duelist videos and someone else could, and if I comment on a lot of their videos and Duelist videos, the similarity there is probably the algorithm might suggest my videos as well, depending on the frequency of me commenting. I have yet to have an opportunity to actually do this. Because YouTube, that's why. YouTube seriously is banning fun. Oh god, I still cannot get it out of my head. Just what I read. Well, I did say I proved it. I just rhymed there. Oh my god. Okay, well, I'm not ready to be here officially, but I had to get the duel. You don't know how to duel? I thought this was supposed to be after the anime. This doesn't make sense. You know how to duel. Okay, well, that does make me ask a bunch of questions. Like, this is supposed to be after the anime, right? But some of the dialogue doesn't feel like it. It feels like pretty much when the character was first introduced. Well, occasionally. I mean, Zane used to be different, and well, we don't have the version of him that was in season 1. We have the edgier version. And in my opinion, he looks better in that outfit than he does in the Obelisk blue uniform. So that's just my opinion. I'm not even sure if he'd agree with that, but whatever. And I mean, I've just noticed this because Sartorius doesn't stay as a villain. I mean, neither does Yubel, but I think Sartorius did less vicious crap. No, I mean, just saying. Yubel really did a lot. A lot. It really makes you wonder why I would say I'd be just as bad as them. Like, I don't know how true that is, but I do know that the social isolation I've experienced, the scars linger, man. They linger. Although I probably wouldn't do half the shit they've done. Then again, there might be some exceptions to that. I will not discuss them, but it's writing related. Okay, now, no, I do not necessarily like playing Infernities, but I do feel like I'm good at using this clan. I mean this deck, this archetype. I don't know what happened there. Well, I mean, I haven't watched the new Overdress episode, but in Overdress, okay, that was weird. But clan is a Vanguard thing, not a Yu-Gi-Oh thing. I'm not the biggest fan of the Infernity deck, but quite often my hand does end up becoming empty. So I'd probably be good at using it. And I mean, I've done some of the duel quizzes, and yes. What? Wow. Anyway, I have done some of the dueling quizzes, and I definitely seem to do pretty well with the Infernity deck. And I was like, I don't even want to use this archetype. But then I think about how often I end up with no cards in my hand. And the whole strategy behind Infernity as an archetype. And I'm like, well, maybe I should just build it. I mean, I'm good at using it, right? Maybe I should build it. And I still haven't decided if I want to or not. I mean, I do want to build Kaylin. I want to use Kaylin at some point. So I'll probably eventually I'll probably eventually build one. I still cannot get over how I still can't get over Yuzu's skill. It's just like, dude, I don't try to make things harder than they really are. I just do it. Like it's not even a challenge at that point. It just happens. Okay, well, I'm sure everyone's curious why I could ever think I could be worse than you, Belle, considering that's kind of difficult to do. Well, I mean, that kind of depends. I mean, I've established that my brain is good at making nightmare fuel. Like, even if I had never seen a single horror movie, even if I was incredibly sheltered, I still feel like I'd create a lot of nightmare fuel. Yeah, that's right. I still think I'd create a bunch of nightmare fuel. Because it's true from what I've noticed. Like, it's been a long time since I watched a horror movie. The most terrifying thing I've watched recently is... Okay, well, I have watched some creepy shit recently. But, I mean, outside of those videos... Okay, I'm not really making a very good case for myself considering I'm now remembering all the weird, creepy videos I've recently watched. And, yeah, I can't get over that. I've watched a lot of creepy videos recently, I know. I probably shouldn't have been watching them, but I did. I was curious. And I think I'm way too good at making nightmare fuel. Way too good at it. I could probably be a pretty successful horror writer. If I wanted to be. I don't want to write horror at all. But it's like, I seem to have so much potential for that. I mean, yeah, I claim that I make a bunch of nightmare fuel, but I mean, one of my weird ideas gave someone a nightmare once. And sure, that's a single case, but I've witnessed some nightmare fuel inside of my brain. Like, sure, it's a single case of me giving someone else nightmares, but how about when it comes to my nightmares? My nightmares is my brain generating nightmare fuel, even though I'm not even conscious. It's definitely weird. And yeah, because I get scared so easily, I would be able to make some very terrifying stories, but do I really want to go there? I don't know, I might have no choice. I mean, my writing is weird. I mean, to begin with, I'm still recalling how I said that a winged eyeball is cute. And it is! Winged eyeballs are cute. I mean, I've seen them in games, 2 games now, but there's a winged eyeball pet in Gems of War. That is my default pet. I've named the eyeball. The eyeball that I own in Gems of War is named Nova, after the winged eyeball that I have in my stories. Yes. In my stories, winged eyeballs have an advanced society. I'm not joking. I've even come up with a lot of weird shit. It's not just winged eyeballs, that in my story at least. I mean, I can't say that I came up with winged eyeballs because I didn't. But the reason I'm willing to talk about the winged eyeballs is because it's not just my idea. It's because I've seen them in other places. I'm like, that is amazing. You know, when I was young, my mom told me that my first word was I, and I was like, which form of it? And she said that I was probably referring to I as in the body part. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And now it just has so much extra meaning. Like, why was I my first word? I don't know. But she said shortly after that I stopped talking. And then I was like, oh. And I stopped talking because of the fact that I was born without a nasal passage. That affected my ability to hear. So I could follow instructions just fine, but I wasn't able to learn language. So because I could actually follow instructions, my mother was told that I'm fine, I'm just lazy. Yeah, my mom brought me in to be evaluated for hearing issues, and the person doing the evaluation just told me that she just told my mother that I'm lazy. That I can hear just fine apparently because I could follow instructions. And then later my doctor was like, she's not learning something is not right. Something isn't right, huh? Really? Really? Seriously? You just now figured that out? Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that the doctor figured that out, but I'm kind of disturbed that it took them so long. Like, dude, you guys are you're trained professionals, and you couldn't tell that something was off? Seriously, that is dumb. But as dumb as it was, I'm now better, and the doctor corrected himself, and everything's good. Everything is good, except for the fact that my nose is still crooked, and I still wish that he adjusted the alignment of my nose while he was at it. But I mean, at least he was a good surgeon. I mean, I just know that based on how I got their nostril that was blocked wrong. That's why I think he's a good surgeon. That's it. I definitely think he did a good job. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. I will see you guys in my next one, where I will just duel the legendary duelists in GX World, provided there are some. And I will then go back to the dice event. I will see you guys then.